And here is the Treasury building, if you didn't see it first time. Now, keeping that 35-foot law in mind, right here on your left, this wooden sign here, that is the Hilton Hotel. Now, they couldn't build it tall because of the law, so there's 12 buildings in that area, and they all have hotel rooms. You know, where there's a will, there's a way.
Oh yeah, there's a martini bar. So this one here, oh wow, that's very dangerous.
Now, right ahead of us here is our old fort. That is the Castillo de San Marcos. Now, that is the 10th fort in the history of St. Augustine. And here is one of those party boats that you can enjoy on the bay. They look like they're having fun. So like I say, this is the 10th fort. Now the first 9 were made out of wood and they were easily destroyed. So the Queen of Spain wanted to build the 10th one out of a stone or block product. So they went over on the island and they mined a material known as coquina. Now that was a layer of crushed seashell and sand. So they quarried that out of the ground and they cut it into blocks. And it took 1 to 3 years for each block to dry. And this is approximately 450,000 blocks of coquina. Please wait until I stop and the bell rings. Exit to your right, backing down as you would a ladder. Y'all enjoy your day. Everyone enjoy. So it took 23 years to complete construction on the fort. Now the fort is the first and only man-made structure to be part of the National Park Service. So we have no more on and no more off. This trolley is in motion. Please remain seated at all times, keeping all items and body parts inside, as I cannot stop to retrieve them. So the fort was completed in 1695, and that was just in time for that 1702 attack on St. Augustine. Now that was led by Governor Moore. He was the governor of South Carolina at the time. Now the British anchored out in the bay, and they bombarded the fort with cannonballs for 52 days, until they run out of supplies and they run out of food. So they couldn't take the fort. It's never been taken in battle. So they come ashore and they burned the city to the ground. And after that attack, they realized how well the fort held up. So they started making all of the structures out of masonry and brick products. Now that's where you get that oldest house back at stop number 16, was after that attack. Now the coquina is very soft. So when the cannonballs would hit the fort, it wouldn't hurt it. It would just absorb the cannonballs. So the soldiers would go out at night and they would pry the cannonballs out and reuse them. Now that was some of the earliest form of recycling. Now right up here ahead of us is our palm log walls. That was when St. Augustine was a continuously walled city in 1808. And also to your left is our Huguenot Cemetery. Now that was the non-Catholic burial ground at that time. When the yellow fever took out half of the population, if you were not Catholic, you could not be buried inside the city walls. So we're coming up to stop number 18 as a Ripley's Believe It or Not. But like most places, it was once somebody's home. Like I said before, pretty much everything in St. Augustine was lived in at one time or another. Now, Mr. William Warden, he built this 24-room house for him and his wife and their 14 children. They called it the Warden Castle because it resembles a castle. Now, he had 14 children with one wife. Golly. Now, rumor has it that he wanted a son and he was not a quitter. So the first 13 were daughters. But it gets even better than that. That 24-room house had one bathroom. So you had 14 ladies of different ages with one bathroom. Sounds kind of like purgatory to me. Now, after Mr. Warden passed away, Mr. Norton Haskins, he bought the property. And him and his wife, Miss Marjorie Rawlings, they opened a hotel here. Now, they had a 19-room hotel. You know, they obviously had more bathrooms. And they lived in an apartment on the 3rd floor. Now, it was said that Miss Rawlings was living here when she penned her award-winning novel, The Yearling, if you know anything about that. I have seen the movie, but I haven't read the novel. Well, Mr. Ripley, he inquired about buying the property, but they refused to sell. Well, after Miss Rawlings passed away, Mr. Ripley had already passed away, so her estate contacted his estate, and they were still interested. And this did become the first permanent home of Ripley's, believe it or not. Believe it or not. Now, this is 3 stories of interesting artifacts. They have a lot of Robert Ripley's personal collections because this is the first home. Now, right here to your left is the car bumper stallion. Now, that was made out of 1950 and 1960 model chrome car bumpers. Now, it was commemorated for the Denver Broncos for their 1987 Super Bowl. But when they got destroyed by the Giants at that time, they decided it was not lucky. So Ripley's ended up acquiring it. You know, believe it or not. I guess we just make our own parking spot. Please wait until I stop and the bell rings. Exit to your right, backing down as you would a ladder. Now, this log over here to your left, that was the 4th log cut out of that particular redwood tree. Now, they said that tree was over 1900 years old. Now, that log is 33 feet long and 8 feet in diameter. Yes. No, that is Fort Matanza. There was another fort, was Fort Matanza. Now, it's over on an island. You have to take a ferry to get to it. I think it's farther south by the Matanza Inlet. Yeah. So this log, like I say, it was the 4th log cut out of that tree. That tree was over 1900 years old. Now, they went inside and they hollowed out the inside of that tree. And they carved a 4-room house in there. There's tables, chairs, beds, everything. You can go inside and view it. There's a 4-room house. They said it was carved for somebody to live in. Somebody said it was the country's first Airbnb. Now, we have no more on and no more off. This trolley is in motion. Please remain seated at all times, keeping all items and body parts inside, as I cannot stop to retrieve them. Now, as we exit here, right here to your right is the statue of David. Now, that is a replica of the original statue. Now, it was carved between 1960 and 1962, and it was a part of the 1964 World's Fair. But in 1969, it was gifted to Ripley's. Now, if you know anything about the statue, it has always sit where it is right now. But at one time, it was out in the open in all of its original glory. So there were people that were offended. You know, somebody's always offended. So they called the city, and the city asked Ripley's to cover it up. So they gave it a house of shrubs. Now, I've had a couple of my trolley guests say that they covered it with a bush. Now, right ahead of us here is the Renaissance Hotel to your left. That is a replica of the San Marco. Now, the San Marco once sat where the parking garage is now, and that was where Henry Flagler came his first time to St. Augustine on his honeymoon, and he stayed at the San Marco. So we are now coming to stop number 19 is the Welcome Center. Now, if you're into that haunted or spooky, this is where the Ghosted Gravestones tour originates every afternoon. You can buy tickets for that. You can also buy tickets to all of our attractions. And they have a gift shop, and you can buy gifts for the loved ones you did not want to bring with you. Please wait until I stop and the bell rings. Exit to your right, backing down as you would a ladder. But please wait until I stop and the bell rings. This is George at stop 19. I have 2 rows available.
Minutes. This is going to be my longest video.
Okay, so we do have no more on and no more off. This trolley is in motion.
Here we go.
Please remain seated at all times, keeping all items and body parts inside. No smoking, vaping, or consumption of alcohol. And please hold conversations to a minimum so everyone can enjoy the tour. Now, my name is George, and you are on the Good Golly trolley. Golly. So as we continue on right here, well, first off, if you need a good recommendation, here is the Florida Moonshine Company. Now, they have the flavored moonshine, and it's made with the sugar cane. South Florida made their moonshine with the sugar cane instead of corn because you could get that easier from Cuba. So that's a good place to go if you need a recommendation. Now we're going to talk about a young lady named Lucy Abbott. Now she had some money that her father had left her, and she wanted to get into real estate. Most notably, she wanted to design and build houses. Well, there was only one problem, as you could not have real estate in a lady's name at that time. So she learned how to beat the system, and she put the land in her younger brother's name. Now she designed and built approximately 129 houses. And there's about 124 of them left standing. Most of these structures are Lucy Abbott designed. But coming up here to your left, this yellow 2-story house. Now this is an original Lucy Abbott designed house. So we are now coming to the mission, is Nombre de Dios, or in the name of God. Now the mission was built on the site where Menendez first came to St. Augustine. Now that was September the 8th of 1565. Now as we make this turn, you will notice this 208-foot cross. Now that was a gift to the city on its 400th anniversary. Now that would have been September the 8th of 1965. Now I don't remember that day, and I'm not sure if any of y'all do. Please wait until I stop and the bell rings. If you are exiting, do so to your right, backing down as you would a ladder. But please wait until I stop and the bell rings. And exit to your right, backing down as you would a ladder, using the uprights and the handles. Y'all enjoy your day. Okay, so we do have no more on and no more off. This trolley is in motion. Please remain seated at all times, keeping all items and body parts inside, as I cannot stop to retrieve them. And I like to tell people to keep that in mind in case they have a loved one that gets on their nerves. You know, I cannot stop to retrieve them. So as we continue on right here, we're going to stop number 21, and I'm going to introduce you to St. Augustine's oldest living resident. Now the oldest living resident is about 650 years old. Now you may have guessed that is not a human, as that would be a record or something. But St. Augustine's oldest living resident is a live oak tree. Now this tree was here about 200 years before Menendez founded the area. Now they call it the Old Senator. They call it that because it's crooked and sometimes shady. Now this is right here at stop 21, and they say the root system extends about 2/3 of the canopy ridge. So this tree is pretty impressive here. Please wait until I stop and the bell rings. If you are exiting, do so to your right, backing down as you would a ladder. But please wait until I stop and the bell rings.
Take a picture of this motel and say, this is why you have to stay at the Renaissance. Another option. Looking up there, don't get up there. This is your other option. This is it. Do the Renaissance. You have to go outside the tables.
So when we get to the last stop, we're probably going to have to end this video a little more quickly than usual. So I do want to remind everybody.
Okay, so we have no more on and no more off. This trolley is in motion.
Remind everyone to like, subscribe, and share.
Please remain seated at all times, keeping all items and body parts inside. And please remain seated until I get to the next stop and the bell rings.
Feel free to leave comments.
So we are approaching Magnolia Street. Now National Geographic has rated Magnolia Street as one of the top 10 most beautiful places in the country. Now these are live oak trees as well, and it is always my favorite part of the tour. Now if you've been here before, you know how beautiful this is. If you have not, I will make this turn slowly so everyone can enjoy the view. It always looks like something out of a painting to me. I'm sure they've done paintings of it. Now right here on your right is our tabby walls. Now that tabby was the oldest form of concrete in the country. They would mix crushed limestone and sand together, mix that with water, and make concrete. Now they added those oyster shells for stability. Kind of like the coquina back at the fort had the crushed seashell. Now we're coming up to stop 22 is the famed Fountain of Youth that Ponce de Leon founded. This is also the home of the Timucuan Indian village of Saloy. Now the Timucuan Indians were the indigenous people that were here when Menendez first came to the area. Now you can stroll through the village. You can also drink from the Fountain of Youth and let me know if it works. And you can check out the planetarium. Now that shows you how the stars were aligned when Ponce de Leon came to the New World. Now you know that was their GPS. This is also a peafowl sanctuary. They have a lot of peacocks and peahens in this area. They have a few solid white peacocks. There's like 3 of those. Please wait until I...
So please like, subscribe, share. Feel free to comment on the videos.
Just let me know. Hey, thank
remember,
you, sir.
you don't know when your last breath is or the breath of other loved ones. So take the time now out of your day after watching this very long video to contact somebody you love. I'll let them know you love them. And until you see my next video, remember, I love you.
Okay, so we are having to wait here at the Fountain of Youth for just a few minutes.
Guess we have
we've got a lot of traffic in the city, so they've got a lot of trolleys bunched up. So there's nowhere for me to park right now to pull in. So they said it'd be just a few minutes. So has everybody enjoyed their day? I know I've asked you that, but
Yes.
Good.
did everybody learn something maybe they didn't already know?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is hard to do these days with Google. Usually people Google it and you know if it's on Google it has to be true. I always say if it's on the internet it has to be true because the internet says so. So like I say, you can enjoy the Fountain of Youth here. Let me know if it works.
I could use that. Yeah, where's the fountain of?
Now I have drunk from the Fountain of Youth every year for the last 149 years, but I haven't really noticed a difference. So. Now somebody said that this was not the original Fountain of Youth. They said about 200 years ago they saw Bob Hope coming out of the Everglades.
How many of my viewers?
And you can hear the peacocks. Usually there'll be 3 or 4 out that you can see, but I don't see any right now.
Excuse me, do you go to stop one here?
I am, I do.
Yes, step 1.
Yep.
Yeah, we're going on here. I got a whole row here.
Oh, really? He loves this? Oh, my dad too on his second one.
Babe,
He would like this? Oh,
you have a seat?
He'd be asking questions. Oh, my God. He probably already knows about.
So like I was telling those who are just getting on, they have a lot of traffic in the city right now, so I have to stay here for just a few minutes until I can go to stop 1.
I'm gonna watch you.
My viewers get to look at my pretty mug.
Yeah, so when we get to stop 1, the trolley will continue on. So it's 22 stops. This is the last stop. And if you go from stop 1 back to stop 1, it is an hour and 40 minutes.
Are we gonna get off and walk? No? Okay. Morgan is.
Yes, about 2 blocks right down the.
Sorry.
That's okay. Well, we are now. Yeah. I said a few minutes.
They're actually leaving now.
Okay, so we have no more on and no more off. This trolley is in motion.
We go. Wheels on the tram go round and round, round and round, round and round.
So my name is
The tram go
George,
round and round.
and you are on the
all
Good Golly
through
Trolley.
the town.
If you've been on my trolley any length of time, I hope you have enjoyed yourself. Maybe you've learned something you didn't already know, or were at least a little bit entertained.
Honestly,
Now we are going back to stop
myself the whole
1,
tour.
and that is the Old Store Museum. Now they have the latest and latest fashions from the year of 1908. They also have the old jail. Now that is a hanging jail. That was commissioned in 1891, and they had 8 documented hangings before it closed down in 1953. Like I say documented because that's the ones they bothered to do the paperwork on. So we are coming to stop number 1. So when I stop and the bell rings, please exit to your left, backing down as you would a ladder, or feel free to stay on and continue the tour.
I'm heading off.
Now I will be getting off. There will be another conductor
Thank you for
getting on.
watching.
I do have comment cards you can
Until
fill
next
out, and I also do accept gratuities.
Love you all.
And you can also go on Google and leave